Wife cheated, so I tricked her into publicly admitting to having the affair and herpes. As it happens, I'm his coworker who encouraged him to post this, but your account must be 7 days old in order to post here, so I gave him an alt account I established for a joke about a month ago. This is a story that has been around for 12 years. Yesterday, I mentioned it to one of my coworkers who recommended that I put it on Reddit. Today, he pushed me once more, and here we are, having drinks before the 4-day weekend, and my writing is completed. So, this is my first time here, and I'd want to extend a warm welcome to everyone. Please accept my apologies in advance for any mistakes. At the end of the article, I included a TLDR. In college, I met the lady who I believed would be my one and only. We dated for nearly 2 years and married in a grandiose ceremony after a 10-month engagement. Her family was well off in a small southern town, and we were both from the same city. We were both continuing our educations, and I was trying to provide financial assistance to both of us. My master's degree in engineering was being completed at the same time that her PhD in anthropology was being completed. The opportunity to make some extra money while working as an assistant on a religious studies trip to Jamaica presented itself to her during the summer of 2011. I didn't hesitate when she inquired about it. After all, she was going to be compensated for her trip to Jamaica, so I couldn't see any downsides to it other than her being away from home for 6 weeks. I had no idea that she was the professor. He used to hang out with us, smoke my hash, and drank my beer, so I considered him a buddy who had planned the vacation for a few months, and it was a chance for them to party all over the island, which I had no idea about. The weeks passed by with me being naive and joyful, working extra hours in order to match what she had earned in our account and surprise her when she returned home. Isn't that the case? One of the youngsters from the excursion came up to me and informed me of the situation. I didn't believe him until I went on my own proof-seeking expedition. I eventually gave up and checked her messages when she was sleeping, but there were none to be found. Because there were many VM, I decided to listen in, and there it was. A message from that enormous, expressing how delighted they were that I had come so close to catching them. I opened her laptop and went directly to the emails. There were mounds and mounds of them, making fun of me for not understanding what was going on, and we were laughing about it in our bed. There was a lot, and I felt depressed about it. I felt powerless since my wounds were still too fresh to take action. My options were limited, so I waited on the situation for a few weeks while trying to maintain a regular demeanor. Everything became apparent to me at this point, and I felt really silly for having missed it before. There are a plethora of signs. One in particular caught my attention. Despite the fact that we weren't having, I noticed that our supply of homemade cannabis lube, which I heartily recommend if you haven't tried it yet, was running out quickly. It was obvious that they were also taking use of the benefits of my efforts in order to get away more swiftly as well. This frustrates me to no end. Irrational, and not in a good manner, is the Hulk. At the end of the day, everything came crashing down on me. These people thought I was a joke, and they were using the lubricant I made and sleeping in my bed as they were doing so. I didn't want to hurt them anymore. All I wanted was to cause them discomfort. So, while she was studying at the library, I went ahead and made a new batch of lubricant. Then, after refilling the spray container we used for application with enough marijuana to make it smell natural, I added some poison ivy from our garden to it and waited. After a few days of working extra hours so that I may spend more time away from home, the bait is grabbed. It is that night, after she has gone to bed, that my plan comes into action. In the process of stealing her phone and erasing my contacts, I replace his phone number with mine in his contact list. I go to bed, but I can't sleep because I feel like I'm 5 years old, and it's the day before Christmas. She is in the shower when the sun comes up in the sky. I've received a text message. I'm itching. How are you doing today? Now, Lord, it's my time to speak. Look, I thought everything was back to normal, but it appears that I had a flare-up. I'm sorry, but I'm infected with herpes, and I'm sure you're infected too. This squeak could be heard when I was in the shower. Trying to keep my lips shut has brought me dangerously close to choking. In the next conversation, I informed her that it was time to call it quits since a new semester was about to begin, and I was having feelings for another T/A. I wanted her to be sad, since she had never been told no as a youngster, and hence had never had to deal with rejection before now. To say nothing of that coming from a balding 50-year-old guy with herpes. Her tears were clearly visible as she emerged from the shower, but I could also see the wrath in her eyes as she walked out the door. I could tell she was uncomfortable since she was wiggling about at the table, drinking her coffee and thinking about the situation. She just needed a little prodding to get going. After writing pages and pages of fury and sadness, she received the following response. "Thanks for the good times, but could you please keep this a secret between us? I don't want to ruin my chances with anyone else." She's flushed with rage now, just seething. She gathered her keys and walked out the door without even saying goodbye. I could see where she was going. I was right behind her. Before accompanying her to college, I powered up her laptop and set it to reformat, destroying her dissertation and any notes she had made while working on the project. He was screaming at him in his office when I arrived, so I rushed over there. He had given her herpes, and she was yelling at him. There are a large number of individuals in attendance: professors, assistant professors, students, and other members of the faculty. I'm going to die right now. He's embarrassed and bewildered as she tears in front of her peers, and I'm in pleasure at the sight of it all. I couldn't care less if other people suspected I was infected with herpes. In their department, the fallout was catastrophic. He lost his job due to a violation of the university's code of conduct, and we divorced the following year. State law required us to be apart for a full year before being granted a divorce, and I got to retain the majority of the assets, primarily savings and not a ton, but I worked for it. She never completed her PhD and became a chronically pregnant housewife who sells Herbalife on Facebook, while he not teaches high school. It took a few years for everything to come together, but it was breathtaking to witness. Edit. Several of you have asked for the recipe for the treats, so here it is. Follow the instructions for usage, otherwise it's a waste of money. And this is completely aimed at the females. We're talking about large OS. Make use of polyurethane condoms. It degrades latex. Weed lubricant. 1 gram CO2 extracted live resin or 1/4 ounce flour, preferred MCT coconut oil 4 ounces, 2 16-ounce mason jars, 3 coffee filters, only if flour is used, 2 drops tea tree oil. It makes a huge impact. 30 poison ivy leaves, small spray bottles. Think perfume. Heat the oils, wax, or flour in mason. Jar for 80 minutes at 240 degrees, then turn off the oven and let it cool for approximately an hour. Fill the spray bottles after straining through coffee filters if you used flowers into the second mason jar. Here are the directions and explanation that my current great wife provided for a buddy who wants to give a try. At first, you may feel the heat rising. To the touch, everything seems more intense. The time elapsed between application and playtime is an enthralling enigma. As time passes, the butterflies in the pit of your stomach get more active, and you become more aware of yourself as your senses and sensitivities rise. Walking has become an element of foreplay, causing more friction and heat to build up. As your partner starts to stroke your neck and shoulders, a warm sensation spreads up your body, bringing shivers down your spine. Until foreplay is completed, each touch gets more ecstatic than the last. Then feel total ecstasy in your partner's arms. Total number of sprays: 8-10, use 2-3 at a time on your fingertips. Spray on your fingers and massage around the labia down into your entrance, moving the oil inward toward your G-spot. Spray on a tampon, insert it, and go to relieve cramps. Tampons are not required. Obtain 5 ml in a syringe, enter, spray, and hold dips raised for 1-2 minutes. With your spouse, apply the spray to your spouse's fingertips, softly spreading it over the labia and pressing some inside your cookie. Consider it like painting. The greater the covering, the better the result. Apply to your G-spot, which is approximately 2 inches in on the front wall of your vagina. Also, apply to your O-spot, which is immediately across from the G-spot on the rear wall of your vagina. It shouldn't take more than 3-5 minutes to apply, and then you shouldn't touch it for at least 20 minutes. Use this opportunity to explore other parts of your magnificent gift. If you're too inebriated to utilize it, you'll just squander it.